You know what, I feel like I've been burnt so many times with space shooter sims in recent years that I'd almost given up on the genre entirely. I can remember back when LucasArts was at its height and churning out so many decent Star Wars games overall, but in particular the space shooters like X-Wing vs TIE Fighter and X-Wing Alliance. These classic games gave us the ability and freedom to experience spaceflight and all the thrills that came with it, in a galaxy far, far away of course. Since then we've had so many attempts at recapturing that old flying arcade magic, some being worthy successors and others best left in the dirt. Speaking of worthy successors, let's talk about Everspace 2. Before we start, if you find this video to your satisfaction, then please leave a like or even subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. It would really help me out, thank you. Everspace 2 comes with a price tag of £45 or just over €50. The game's been in early access for 2 years now and has just been fully released on PC as of April the 6th, 2023. The trailers really sold me on the game, as elements of nostalgia came flooding back and the wondrous hope of something fresh enticed me. It felt more than just an itch that needed to be scratched. I did not want to get my hopes up, but I felt the devs did a great job of showcasing the game for someone like myself that skipped the beta, as well as having never played Everspace, the first installment. After reading just how much content Rockfish Games have included over the past years and still plan to add in the near future, what better time to jump right in? It didn't take the game long to dispel any anxieties I had about learning and mastering the controls, as everything felt fluid. The HUD laid out most of the keyboard shortcuts to corresponding abilities and therefore was very self-explanatory. I also found that the control settings for the mouse and keyboard were by default perfect, so no tinkering was required. I simply checked to make sure the graphics were all at max and hey presto, I was ready to go. If there is one guarantee you can have with a space flight sim, it is that you'll probably have high frames and therefore smooth gameplay. It certainly was, and from the dogfighting to the missions that require careful manoeuvring to pass through gaps or place cargo, the control of your ship was smooth, comfortable and easy to master. The story is what you would expect from a space shoot 'em up. It was just okay, fine.
What the hell were you thinking? You know we're trying to keep a low profile. How did you reroute this thing anyway?
With my G&B signature. Look, I had to do something for Ben. It'll be fine, you'll see.
I honestly think most people that come to this game will be more concerned with things like the size of the systems you can travel in, combat and how much you can upgrade and customize your craft. You begin with what felt like a little backstory, to help you get caught up with galactic events, and then it throws you straight into the action. Guided by some helpful dialogue, you go here, travel there and destroy these targets, etc. But when the prologue, if you will, is over, that's when the game comes into its own. I found the combat pretty intense on hard difficulty, but after a few mistakes and forcing myself to read what certain abilities do in my arsenal, it was a rewarding experience every time. You can have two main and secondary weapons active at any time, which are easy to switch mid-fight, as well as two ability slots which can house a varied number of useful get-out-of-jail-free cards. I used a speed boost to remove myself from hairy situations and another ability that deflected a percentage of damage back at the attacker. Each one of these abilities can change the dynamics of a fight drastically and are all worthy of study. There are also another 4 slots for consumables like mines, repair droids or weapons and shield boosters. The dogfights are super fun and engaging. There is a generous amount of hitbox when aiming at targets, I noticed. Not too much, but enough so you're not missing 4 out of 5 shots all the time. It was always great to test new equipment gained from previous battles or shop purchases, making the next fight unpredictable and interesting. As your player level and ship stats increase, you have more time to enjoy the fights while preparing and training for harder and sometimes brutal enemies to come. The game is vast, I mean really vast. There are currently 7 star systems to visit with an 8th system planned, I believe. If you're a completionist like me, then you're going to be spending many hours in each system. I found myself constantly distracted from my main or side quest goals in order to mine for materials on asteroids or search abandoned shipwrecks for hidden stashes of loot. One thing I particularly enjoyed was, while travelling at super light speed, which I guess is the game is faster than light travel, random locations would suddenly appear on the screen, causing me to break off from the story to investigate. They can be anything from distress calls to shipwrecks or even mysterious unknown signals. More often than not, a battle will ensue, whilst the side quests will simultaneously be presented and hence some kind of reward. So very easy to see myself spending hundreds of hours exploring everything in this game. Thankfully, Everspace 2 knows what the fans want when it gets down to technical details of the inventory and crafting tabs. I was genuinely very happy to see not only are there multiple upgrade slots on each ship you can own, but there are also 5 tiers of rarity to all upgrade components ranging from common to legendary. Dismantling components 3 times will give you the blueprint to craft it again to match your current level. Blueprints as well as top tier weapons and components can also be found anywhere in the world. Some other top mentions include being able to customise your ship colours from loot rewards in the form of colour schemes. You can also spend a vast amount of resources to upgrade and improve your home base with perks that make life a lot more comfortable for sure. Even your character has a list of perks to choose from that can benefit a wide range of playstyles. It's a great system because as the enemies get tougher and more numerous, you'll have to think very carefully about how you invest these skills and what type of playstyle is preferable to you. As I said before, space games can sometimes get away with a smoother gaming experience because of the dark environments. However, so many places you visit are more than just a backdrop of stars. Colourful and well-lit dogfights can take place among a backsetting of varied space debris, floating asteroids, beautiful planets and clouds of gas. The larger your monitor and the higher your resolution will certainly add wonders to immersion here. It was sometimes hard to stop and take in the glorious beauty of destruction and carnage amidst an intense battle, but the weapon and explosion animations are breathtaking. My only dislikes so far after 30 hours of gameplay are that the story elements can sometimes feel lacking. The cutscenes are fun enough and are the strongest aspect of the story, but most other dialogue is a little generic and lacks emotion. The rest of the game, however, is an absolute blast in all categories and keeps me wanting more. And you guys let me know in the comments if there are similar games out there that demand my attention. I would love to know. So if you're curious about the game, I'd say it's well worth the price, so why not give it a try? If you're a veteran of games in this genre, then I would highly recommend it. I'm sure you'll find it as relaxing and fun as I did. And I gotta say, the endgame content looks very appealing, so I'm looking forward to sinking more hours in and seeing how crazy the game gets. Well, that sums up my quick take on Everspace 2 so far, and thanks very much for listening. Hope you got a better idea about the game from this, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Take care, folks.